Right, good evening. And give us quickly a chat there if you are in the room and you can hear us. I can see Timmy and he can see me and I can hear him. Let us know if you are here. Hi, guys. Anthony, welcome.
Perfect.
Rob. Yes, we can see everyone there. Bob, great. We are trying out a new platform tonight. So we are a little bit not in our comfort zone tonight. So if you see anything, give us feedback again. We are trying different platforms based on the feedback that we are getting. And with that, we have to learn a new software every time.
Yeah.
And just like you guys, when you learn something new.
Just to be honest, we didn't get used to our last platform 100%. So it's... yeah.
Right. Okay, so everyone, welcome here. I can see we've got the whole world here again. I see Switzerland, and then I see Brighton in the United States. We have people from Israel, Canada, Colombia in the US, Grove Village, and I'm learning so many new places. India, and then who else do we have here? Thailand, welcome. Good evening, everyone. I know it's very late over there. From the US and the UK, many joining us. And Anthony, I see you there. You are from Torrance. Torrance. Okay, I need to go read up on that, where that is. Netherlands, good evening. Ukraine. And who else? From where else? Yeah, so many of you. Poland. Hi, guys. All welcome. And we know that tonight today, we probably also have a lot of new people that are joining the webinar for the first time. Just to give you an idea quickly, we try to do more regular webinars, but as you know, we've been super busy in the last few weeks. And I think Dimi can talk about that a little bit later as to, what's going on, because he hasn't had much sleep lately. He's been very, very busy. And one of the reasons he's been very busy is what we're doing tonight. And then in the next few weeks, we'll be bringing you more on those things that are happening. So, welcome to our Popup Builder seminar for tonight. We're going to show you the Popup Builder. Of course, it has been released already, so many of you have played with it. If you have Pro, for those of you still busy with the free version, you will probably want to see, is it worthwhile? What is it that we can get from Popup? And we're going to create an on-click pop-up from scratch, and we're going to show you how the builder works, and then also walk through the automatic global pop-ups for triggers and displays. Right, so the game plan is up to about an hour, and we are recording. We hope we are recording this session tonight, and if everything goes well, then we will share this with you at the end. Also, the videos in this webinar has been pre-recorded, and our approach here is to give you the videos. You can watch through it. If you see anything there and you have questions, please ask us. That is why Dimi and I are here, to try and answer as many questions of them as possible. And we try to keep things on topic. We know that doesn't work. There are many people with many questions. And tonight, I can just envision already we're going to have many questions regarding Brizy Cloud. Try not to talk about Brizy Cloud tonight. We're talking about the pop-ups, unless you want to know when the pop-ups are coming to Brizy Cloud. We can talk about that later. And at the end, we're going to have a sneak peek for you, as well as a little bit of a surprise. And then no tech support in this webinar. For that, please go to support.brizy.io for those things. Right, this is me, and I'm the guy who brings you the videos on YouTube. A little bit about me. There it says I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. This is actually my choice. It's something that has developed over the decades. I know it's crazy, but I do most of my work in the mornings when Dimi is still snoring away. By the time he gets to the office, I already...
Yeah, when I get up at 7 a.m., I already see the text and all the... Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that means I get a head start on my coffee, and that is the thing that keeps me going through the day. Dimi.
Yeah, but we always try to share some insight in our, I think, wannabe lives, right? I'm a gamer at heart. I didn't play much in the past years, to be honest, but as soon as I'll get some time, I'll shoot up my PlayStation again. As you may already know, I'm one of the founders here at Brizy, and I'm in charge of the UI and usability. So that's partly one of my responsibilities. And I work in web since forever, like when fonts were like Arial and Times, the only fonts that we could use on the website. So some of you might remember those times. That's about it.
I see that Anthony has said there, do PlayStation over Xbox. And when I saw that Dimi said he's a PlayStation guy, he knows I'm the Xbox guy.
Yeah.
So, yep, we have both Xbox and PlayStation here. Maybe there's a few Wii players out there as well. Right, guys, so let's continue to the new Popup Builder, and we are going to play the video. Again, like I said, we are testing new software here tonight. If you have any issues, drop it there in the chat box so we can see what's going on. And please go ahead and ask your questions. We're not going to talk about rugby. South Africa won the World Cup rugby, so it's a final deal. We're not going to talk about that. We stick to our Popup Builder for tonight. And now I just need to figure out how to get this little window here to go away. And at this moment on the market. I'll show you first here in the navigation menu on the left, in the admin panel, that we have Brizy here, and then here you will have the pop-ups that appear here. We're not going to go into that yet. This is where you're going to build a pop-up for your global site or for a specific site that will be activated by a trigger. For example, if people have been on that page for a few seconds, it will pop up. Or if people haven't done anything for a while, or they plan to close the page, we call it exit, intent on exit, then that pop-up will appear. So this pop-ups here in the navigation menu in the Brizy pane, this one is for conditions and triggers. But for those cases where you want to have a button, a link on your site, and people click on it and it opens a window. For example, a window with a video in, or any other kind of information in it, or just a pop-up, that's going to be done right inside the page builder. Let's go to pages over here and add new. We work first with the on-click one and also look at the styling, and I'm going to call this pops up. And let's publish it and then edit with Brizy. And I think what I want to do is just bring in a block with a button so that we can work with that. Let's just bring in a few things here. I'll bring in a Euro image first, how it's going to be, and then we will have our button over here. While I'm here, I saw a question in the forum a few weeks ago, and it baffled me. Sometimes when I read these questions, I have to come back to the builder like, isn't it there? I'm pretty sure it is there. And the question was, can you please put a contact button in the header? And I went in here and I went to check the header, and I saw two pre-made ones that you can do that. Most importantly, if it's not there, you can put it in yourself. That's the great thing about a header builder, is that if you want another button in there, all you do is you bring another button in there and you place it where you need it to go. But I don't want to talk about the button at this moment. I want to talk about the pop-ups and how we link it to a button. So let's click here on this button. And remember, like always, this little thing that's a link that can give you a block, anchor link or a file download or a pop-up in the pro versions. You're going to find it anywhere, everywhere. You're going to find it here. If I click on this column, you'll find the link over here. So if you want this entire info box to be a pop-up clickable link, then you just go to the column. If you go to anything else, like for example, here we have an image, a logo, same thing. You can do that. So remember, it's not only buttons, it's also your containers, many of your elements as well. Let's stick to the button, as that is the most logical one. And then let's click here, go to pop-up. And then to load a pop-up from the pre-made ones, you just click on the plus. You can select here. And let's have a quick look at all the new ones that we've added. You can call this also Design Kit version 2 for the pop-ups. Nice and bright. Some familiar looking faces over there. And then you see, of course, here the cookies notices down here at the bottom. These ones you're typically going to use for global pop-ups like on your conditions and triggers. You're not going to add them with an on click. So here you have all the pre-made ones that you can use. Go through them. They are really, really nice to play with, and they are a very good starting ground. If you don't know where to start with, just look at this. You see, subscribe to newsletter. If I click on this one, it will load it, and now to see and edit it, you just click on the thumbnail again, and you see the subscribe to newsletter appears here at the bottom where it has been placed. If you decide later that you don't want to work with this pop-up, you rather build your own or work with a different pop-up, just click here at the top to go back. Now you're back in the page builder. Click again on that, get it, delete it, and then bring in a new one. Let's bring in Hey Stranger, and let's click on that. Let's have a look at a few settings over here that I just want to show you. This is basically a block or the pop-up canvas, the background for the pop-up. And all the settings for that is done over here. Go to the top right corner and you will see all the settings. They appear over here. And specific settings, go to the left where you see pop-up, and you will see you have the option to scroll page behind. So if you have a very long page and you still want people to be able to scroll while the pop-up is out, you activate this. Why do you want to do that? For example, a cookies notice. You don't want that thing to obstruct a visitor's visiting experience to your site. You still want them to be able to interact with the site, but at the same time, you want them to know that there's a pop-up, so you will activate the scroll behind page. We'll talk about make it global later. The close. Click outside to close anywhere on the canvas. Yes, I like that. That's a good idea. And display the close button. Yes, I want to display that. And I love the delay. You know, if you have people that come and they see the pop-up appear, you don't want them just to immediately be able to close it. So what you do is you just add a little bit of a delay there, and then after the pop-up opens, that close-up button will take 3 seconds to appear. Let's go and view this. We update what we've done here in the bottom right-hand corner. And remember the shortcut key always for saving and updating your work, Command-Control-S. Preview it. And then from here, we just need to click on our button. And you see there's no close button, but after 3 seconds, there it is. Now the visitor can close it out. Let's go back into the builder. Right, so what else do we have here? We had, and we looked at that, all of that, and the close button. Now the display close button and the delay, again, won't be necessary for people who click here on the button because they've clicked already on the button, they wanted to go there. You would typically activate this for those global pop-ups that you will set with conditions and triggers. While we are here in the pop-up settings, let's look at these two features that give you vertical and horizontal alignment. So this one is going to give you the horizontal alignment all the way to the right, left, and then the middle. And then this one gives you that vertical alignment to center, top, and to the bottom. And this allows you to put that pop-up anywhere on the page you want it to be. And then it's always a trick to get it back into the middle. Canvas in the back, here you have your overlay. You can set any color here, any one you want. And of course, you can apply some transparency to it, and you can take it again completely away. And you can make it fully opaque, fully transparent, fully opaque, fully transparent. And in case you want an image, that's the same thing over here. You just grab an image. Right, there's your image, and not a very high resolution image, and it doesn't look good. Well, actually, it's a little freaky. It looks like a Smurf with a yellow dot on his face. Right, Papa Smurf. Now, Papa Smurf has got red pants. Anyway, it looks like very weird, but actually it quite gets the attention. So if you wanted to do some shock marketing, this could work. And let's remove our image over there because it's a little bit freaky. So here you have all the styling options then for your canvas, for the background, for your pop-up, where you're going to place it, and the settings for it. Let's make one from scratch. That will give you an idea of what kind of control you have over the pop-up settings, the width and the height. I go back, I click again here on the button, go to the link, and I delete it. Then I click on the plus, add a blank block, and then again, after you have loaded it, you click on it to edit it. Let's go first to the settings up here. And the first thing I want to show you is you go to the settings, you have control over the width and the height. Currently, the width is set in pixels. So this is your canvas wrapper. That is the settings within Brizy at 1170 pixels. If you put it on percentage, you can put it all the way from 20% to 100%, and that will give you full width. I like percentage a lot. If you need that, you can do that over here. With height, you have three options. Auto means it's going to stretch according to the content that you put inside it. So if I bring in an image over here and I load the image, did you see my container with the white background, how it's stretched? Now let's bring in this image, which should be, let's see, what is that? 400 by 400 pixels. We selected. And if I go to, let me just do this, 100%. Okay, and I reduce it like so. You see again how it stretches with the content. And this is our setting then for height we put on auto. You can also put the height on full height, and it's going to give you your full viewport height. Very great. Now you've got a full page, your entire wrapper, you can use it. You also have control, custom control over that. Right, so you can set it over here, pixels again, and then control again over percentage if you need to make it. So remember, I left this out previously when we did the previous webinar. We quickly did a showcase. These controls are in there. You can set it full height and full width. All the controls are here within the settings. Let's just reduce the width a little bit. Good. Now let's look at our container. For all our content comes within a row. So if you want to style this white background that you currently see, because first of all, you will see there's a little rounded corner, and then you will see it's got a white background. And let's say you want to make changes to that. You have to go here to the left top corner of this row, click on it, and you will see your settings appear over here. Here you can add your image, video, all those cool things. You can even apply hover effects to it. And then you have your colors over here. Overlay, border, and a shadow. Let's put in a shadow there. Probably not going to see it because we've got this dark background at this moment. Let's put it on yellow. There. Now you can see this a little bit of a border. Let me just, where are we now? Up, down, to the right. Okay. Let me do this. 5 and a 5. There we go. Make that 0. Let's see what happens. Let me just tab back. I'm going to put that on 0 as well. Okay, and now, okay, 5, 5, 5. Let me give that a 5 as well. Back. Not that one. Okay, then this one. 5. That is your dispersion, yes. So it's going to give you that little bit of an effect. But no shadow I want in this case, but all your styling options over here. Then let's talk about those border radiuses or the corners. Go to settings, more settings, and then here under styling, you see your corners appear here. You can do that individually if you want to, right? Give that a little bit of a la-di-da effect because you're working here with Chef de Brel. Or you can link them all and you can make it like our capsule. And if you get to 100 pixels and that's not enough, simply click in there and give the values and test it. Like I just put in there 200. Not sure how far can I go. Let's put it at 250 pixels. Nice. All right. And then if you want to have it all square, you just draw it, the slider back all the way to 0. These are the settings that you have for it. Then inside here, everything is just the normal way. Wait, before I go to the normal way, let's go back to settings here. This one appears over here. You see the content is currently aligned to the, what is this? Vertical center alignment. I get confused with this. And you have that option over here. Content, you can put it at the top, center, and then at the bottom. Yeah, so this is vertical alignment. I always get confused when I work in Photoshop and I want to do a flip of my layer. I always get it wrong with horizontal and vertical flip. Good. So remember this one. You can also place the content in the various vertical alignments. Top, middle, and bottom. Now, let's get back here. How do you build out anything within this wrapper now, within this container, within this block for your pop-up? And you know, it's like you do anything else. Every element that you see over here can go in here. You can create a form. You can bring in a map. Where's my map over here? You can bring in another column. You can drag things around. And of course, if you don't like something like his little mug face, you just delete him and he's gone. What can we bring in there? Let's bring in a countdown. Right? So all of this can be done. And this is how you build it out. Right? Okay, so let's say you've built this out and now you are very happy with it. You are done. You've got your pop-up set up and you can move on. One thing I want to say, though, is that if you're going to make a pop-up and there's a possibility that you're going to use it again, do not forget to save it. To save any pop-up, you go again here to the toolbar settings and you simply click here on this one. So if I click here on save, and then we go back, and then you come to another link in the future, link, pop-up, and you go to save blocks, it will appear here. However, even though that is a very good idea, and by the way, if you don't want it anymore, you just delete it from here. However, let's go back here. Though that is a very good idea, actually, it's quite possible that if you're going to use any pop-up like this somewhere else on your site again, that if you were to make any changes to one of those pop-ups, you would like it to reflect also in the other pop-ups, right? If you have this contact form and you're going to place it on different places on your website, you most probably, if you make any change here, like you want to change, like the counter, you want it to be done on all those pop-ups. So instead of saving it, you go over here to the pop-up settings and you say, make it global. After you've clicked on that, you will see that little blue icon appear over here. That indicates that this is now a global pop-up. So what does that mean? Let's go back here. Let's add another block. I can look at these new design kit blocks forever. Okay, so let's go for this one. Load it. And then from here, we are going to bring in that pop-up that we just saved. So we click here again on this button. And where am I? Link here, go to pop-up, and then I'm going to select, go to my global blocks, and I choose my pop-up over here. The thumbnail will display like this, but if I click on it, you're going to see it's exactly the same pop-up that we had built earlier. Here's the great thing. Any changes I make here now in this pop-up will also be done in the other pop-up because it's a global pop-up. So for example, let's go and delete this column over here. Let's bring in 2 columns there. Okay, so like we bring in a little image here, an icon box, put an icon box there. Let's bring image in. Same guy. This guy appears to be everywhere. Papa Smurf or Sheldon Smurf. And I'm just going to, well, that's fine. And that's it. So you don't need to update your pop-up. Just remember all the changes you make here is automatically reflected the moment you click go back. So let's update our page and then we go view it on the front end to see how that will work for us. Go to the front end. Let me close that one. We don't get confused with all the open tabs. And right, so this is the pop-up that we brought in from our global save and we made changes to it. So if I click on it, I should see the sailor over here, the chef sailor. And there we have that, so our pop-up is here. Click outside. And now if I go here to the top, this is where we started originally with this one that says read article. If I click on it, you see same. And again, then just to come back to the whole global thing. So to round off the global pop-up feature, what if you decide that you have styled it now, but you want this pop-up to be independent from the other one? You don't want them to update in parallel anymore. Go back to the builder. We go here, find our pop-up, click on it, and all you do is you go to this one that you don't want to be a global pop-up anymore. Click on pop-up and you say deselect, make it global. Now it's going to do everything by itself. I've deselected it now, so if I make any changes here at this moment, let's change the background color. That will be very obvious. Good. And we go back and we go to this one. You will see it's still the previous one. This one is still global. And this one isn't anymore. You cannot make it global again, okay? You cannot link it to the other one once you have delinked it. You can make it now a separate global one, but you cannot delink it. So let's just go have our final look on the front end at that horrendous pop-up in red that we have created. Very shocking. Actually, I'm sitting, I almost had my red jacket on for this. Right, so here we go. There's our pop-up, and then same for this one over here. This one is in red. So now you know how to make these pop-ups. We've showed you how you make them, we can call this an on-click, how you bring in a pre-made one, and how you can apply it even to headers. You know, bring in a button in the header, you can put a little sign-up form there, anything like that. How to build it yourself, how to set the custom width, the custom height. The only thing that we quickly have to look at, and that is the other styling that you get for the pop-up before we forget about that. So let's go over here, link, and then pop-up. So the final part is this close button. The close button, if I click on it, is going to give me the styling options for it. There is one little nag here, which I'm going to show you how to work with that. If I click on the icon, it's going to cover the close icon, and you won't be able to see what your changes do to that. If you want to have a little bit more of a visual experience, let's look at these two quickly over here. The one on the right will determine which corner, top right, bottom right, left, bottom left, and top left. So if I click on it, you will see how it switches here. Let's remove this column over here so we can have a better look. Let's click on the icon again, and we move it around. So did you see what happened there? Because I placed it over here, it popped over here. But if I click again on the icon, it's going to cover it. So what I do, let's put it there where we started and go click on it. What I do, if I want to see the icon, is I click on it and I move it down one. Now when I open and click on the icon options, I have more visual cues of what's going on. Over here, you have control over the X and the Y axis, where you want that to be. Here you have control over the size, and you can also apply a background. Right, so if you want to have the background, go here, let's apply color background. And that is the icon color, and then for the background, and you also have hover effect. So if you want somebody to have a little bit of a different experience when they hover over it, you do that. Let's put the hover icon on a darker color as well, like this. Now that you've styled it, let's go back here so you can have a look now at the background size, corners, and you also have custom control over here, over the corners, if you don't want it to be perfectly round, elliptical, right? So square, and this is your icon here, and the sizing over here as well. Now you've seen how it looks. Now you know exactly by placing it there, even though you're going to leave it here at the top, you can see clearly the visual cues from here. This one over here will place it inside or outside your container. I'm going to leave it outside, and then I'm just going to cycle it to the top here. Good. So now we have our close button. And that's all the styling, everything you need to know for the pop-ups on Trigger. And when you're done, you just say go back, you update your page. And for one last time, let's go view it on the front end, just to make sure we are not fooling you. Read article, and there's everything. Right, and that's everything that we can do for the pop-ups in the page builder. Let's go back to the dashboard. Right, and then we're going to find our pop-ups. No video or audio. Let's see. Yay. You can see us now. Can you hear us?
Back. Okay.
Back. All good. All good. Right? That was JP playing around with the buttons. I told you. I'm getting all trigger happy here. Okay. So actually, Dimi and I had a huge conversation. We revealed the entire future of Brizy during that 1 minute that you were off, and we're not going to repeat it. No, actually, the question that I had for Dimi was, Brizy Cloud at this moment can do everything that I had showed you in the video we just looked at. In the next video, we're going to look at automatic global triggers and conditions. So when will that be coming to Brizy Cloud?
So we have the on-click pop-up, as you said, in Brizy Cloud already. And the triggers and display conditions will come shortly, in 2 weeks, something like this, right? So we'll put them there. It's just a matter of days, to put it like this, right?
Okay.
We'll not have to wait months or things like that. It's maybe 3 weeks away, 2 weeks, something like this. Maybe even sooner. So
those of you still who don't see us now, refresh F5 or what you want to do for refresh. It seems all webinars.
I think someone asked about embeddable pop-ups. That's a very good question. We plan that as a project in the cloud. So basically, in the cloud, you'll be able to create a couple of things. We said we will not talk about the cloud too much, but let me just touch on this. So you'll be able to create, you can right now create multiple page websites and landing pages, but you'll also be able to create embeddable pop-ups and alert bars. So basically you'll create a project that will be a pop-up, and you'll be able to embed that together with the triggers on basically any website. You'll get the code from us, and you'll put it in your website, and the pop-up will just basically work. And the editing part, of course, you'll do on the cloud, right? So it will work similar like our sync publishing option. You'll create the pop-up on the cloud, and it will automatically sync to your project, WordPress or whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll give you the embed code, and yeah.
Right. So the embeddable pop-ups are making people very excited. I'll have to go study up on that. Right. There was, I think, a little bit of a confusion there at one point. We were talking about the responsiveness of the live webinar pop-up. Some people who wanted to subscribe to the live webinar on their phones, they had problems with that pop-up. Not the Brizy pop-ups. We were not talking about the Brizy pop-ups. Brizy pop-ups are fully responsive. You have to go in there, just like any other page, you can make it responsive. And especially with the Kit 2, there's a lot of work that had gone into making sure that they are responsive. But of course, you'll have to go in, if you add things and you bring in your own content, go and tweak them and test them on devices. But for the live webinar, that one, yeah, we know there are some issues for that pop-up.
Yeah, that's an iframe that we put in our pop-up, an iframe that comes embedded with some sizes and some hard-coded stuff that I couldn't figure out. So, and our colleagues told me that you can't control CSS and inside the iframe, and I'm sure there is a better way to embed that subscribing form, but we'll just need to figure it out. Yeah.
Right. Okay, guys, let's go on to the next video to look at those automatic triggers and conditions. And hopefully I don't disconnect everyone, or at least me and Dimi. We still stay here. Through all those design kit examples that we have, you begin to understand what you can do there. For example, a video. You have a link to a video, but you don't embed the video on your site. You want to save up some space, or maybe the video doesn't look that good on your site. Then that's ideal. You put there a image, or you put a button or a text, and you just link that to a pop-up, and inside the pop-up, you put the video. Awesome. But that is on click, and we want to look at those pop-ups that we also know as very annoying. The ones that we want to pop up and promote something, lead to some conversion, maybe get a lead or something like that. A promotion, a discount, those automatic pop-ups. And those are set by triggers and conditions. They are not built, or they are not set rather, inside the builder. They are set within the pop-up dashboard in the Brizy panel. So within your WordPress administration panel, you go here in the navigation menu on the left, and you will see our Brizy panel, and then pop-ups. And that's where you're going to go into your triggers and conditions. Now over here, you can see I've made one previously. So I'm going to delete it. Into the bin you go. And then here you build up new ones. Here you have to manage very carefully. I'll tell you this now. If you set too many pop-ups with conflicting or too many kinds of triggers and conditions, you're going to run into a sweet mess later on. So when your pop-up has expired, my advice will be to go save the pop-up as a global or as just a normal save into your blocks and come and delete it here. Don't leave here lists and lists and lists of pop-ups with triggers and conditions. They can mess up a very good site. Let's add one, and we're going to call it triggers and conditions. And I'm pretty sure you're thinking at this moment, how will this work in Brizy Cloud? We will talk a little bit about that after this video, but not very dissimilar to that. It's just going to be different interface. You know, there at the bottom where you have the settings, that's where it will be. Currently, we're only working with this one here in WordPress, and that's as simple as that. Now you can click here on Publish and then click on Edit with Brizy. If you click on Publish first and you go into Edit with Brizy, your first option will be to update. If you don't click Publish and you go into Edit with Brizy, your first option will be Publish. So I'm just going to click here on Edit with Brizy, and we go into the Popup Builder, which is, well, more or less Brizy Page Builder. Look here at the bottom, you see it says Publish. It just knows that you haven't published this yet. So the first time you want to save this, you will have to publish it. And here you go through the whole process of building it again. And this is now where you have made those pop-ups that you have saved, or the ones that you have made global pop-ups. You can load them from here, or you can begin your own pop-ups again from a blank pop-up or from this awesome design kit. And we talked about the video. I just want to show you that example. Who's that? This example here. This is a very good example of a video pop-up that you can use. You bring in your video over here. You have a download option over here. Imagine that. Even download the video. Pretty awesome. Everything that you can do with that. In the event, while you are working here, because you see there's not a close button here at the top. Let's say you've selected this preset and later on you're, oh darn golly, I don't want to use this one. Then you consider this like a normal block. Go to the block options up here and click here on delete, and that's how you can restart this whole process. For example, here, down here, you have your cookies consent, if you want to use that. Okay. And I just loaded this, and while I'm here, I just want to show you, this is where, if you go into your pop-up options, you will add scroll behind, because you will definitely want the visitor still to be able to scroll, and they can still see this cookie pop up here at the bottom. And when you go to close, you will deactivate close outside to click outside to close, because you don't want people to click here and it will remove that GDPR, etc., thingy for your cookies. And if you have no idea what the cookies are and you were thinking of yum, don't worry too much about that. Let's delete it. Again, go up here to block settings, and let's get on with what we are here for, and that is the triggers and conditions. I'm just going to choose this one. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter. You're going to find that over here in the block conditions, plus and display conditions over here. Let me make the screen a little bit larger by using the zoom function here and open it again. Pop up, display conditions. There is a 3, and what does this 3 mean? This 3 tells you there are 3 things already connected to this pop-up, conditions or triggers. And if you click on it, let me make it a little, wait, and a little too big. There we go. Let's try again. Right. If you click on it now, it opens with triggers and conditions over here. And you will see there is this one that says trigger pop-up only once. This counts as 1. Then on page load counts as 2. And conditions over here include all counts as 3. So those 3 that you see over here, those are the 3 I just mentioned to you. So let's go into this triggers and conditions. Now, there are many of you, I know you know exactly what a trigger is and you know exactly what a condition is, but there are also many who have no cooking clue. What is a trigger and what is a condition? Nothing about trigger happy. A trigger tells the pop-up when, strictly, technically, when to appear. And a condition tells the pop-up where to appear. So let's talk about the where first. So we go to conditions, and currently it is set to all. All what? Your entire site, which means if Bobby or Sarah or Petro comes to your site and they go to your Contact Us page, guess what? Pop-up is going to appear there. If they go to the services page, same thing, pop-up will appear there. This is your entire site. On the other hand, let's say you make a pop-up for a specific service and you only want it to appear on that page of services, you can set it here. So you go to include because you want to include it on that page. You click here and then you select the page. And then over here, catering services, that's how you select it. And now it will only appear on that page. But let's say the opposite. You have a pop-up that you want to have for your entire site, but you don't want it on your catering site. And then you can first go and say, include all, and then you will bring exclude which page, and that will be catering services. You will run into the situation where you are playing around with this and you're going to delete and you're going to delete, and then you're going to leave, and then your pop-up will not show. You need to have a minimum of 1 condition. So at a minimum, you have to have this include all. The second thing, let me quickly show you. Let's say include all, and then say exclude, and we say exclude another page, blog, about us, and you make this very intricate thing that you want to set up here. When you're done, you go into triggers, and you set your triggers, and you come back to conditions, and it's gone. And you need to save. These 2 saves at the moment is independent of each other. So if you set up a very complicated trigger system with a very long row of triggers and you go to your conditions, you come back, it's all a waste of your time. So remember to save. So we'll leave this one here. I'll just click save here for good measure, and let's go and talk about the triggers. Trigger is when. So when do you want this appear? When people open a page or after people have been on the page? And there is a long list of all the most important triggers that you need. I want to say this, we have a video on YouTube on how to set up each and every one of these. We're not going to go through them and set it up and you view and set it up and you view. Please go check out the video on YouTube for the triggers and conditions. Here, I'm just going to quickly show you which triggers and conditions are here. And I think the first one we want to start with is this one that we've added after the beta testing phase, which is trigger pop-up only once. If you had played with it during beta, you would have known that every time that you work with a pop-up and you go to the page, it will appear and it will appear again. So let's say Bobby Jean comes to your site and very interested to read the news on your site, and there's a pop-up that says, hey, Bobby Jean, sign up and you get 10% discount. And guess what? Bobby Jean loves your site so much that she signs up. Now that she signed up and she comes to your site tomorrow, that same pop-up appears. And after an hour, she comes back to read another article, the same pop-up appears. And you and I and everyone, including Bobby Jean, knows that is super irritating. And that's why you have this option over here, trigger pop-up only once. So at this moment, this option will control how many times this pop-up will appear per visitor, so it's per IP address. If you click it on, Bobby Jean will only be subjected to that pop-up once, or this pop-up once. If you deselect it, it means that every time she comes to your site, this pop-up will appear. Now, there are instances where you will want to have the same pop-up appear again and again. If you are running a promotion in a week, you want actually to be a little bit invasive. You want to be there in people's face all the time. You know, up to 7 times you need to make that contact before you probably can get the deal. It's happened to me. the same pop-up pops up and I'm so annoyed by the pop-up, but finally I click on it. But you have to think in terms of people who are users, subscribers, whether this will annoy them. But there's actually a trigger for that. We'll talk about it soon. So just think about this one over here. This one you have to think very strategically. Do you want the pop-up to be relentless and be there all the time, or only appear now and again? And I think there's still some that we can do with this, maybe set up how many times it will appear. So this is a nice beginning for us here at Brizy. And we brought this one in after we did a lot of the beta testing to make sure you have control over that and that you don't annoy people too much. Yeah, and you can let us know what you think about this. I think this is a good discussion point. What is your experience over this? And not as a user, right? As the kind of person who wants to generate leads. Let's look at the triggers. There's quite a number, and it starts with on-page load. And what you are going to set over here are seconds. So how many seconds after the page load will the pop-up appear? Then you have after inactivity, and after inactivity is no movement of the cursor. So when somebody stops and the mouse stops. And after inactivity appears often when, somebody's sitting and looking on their cell phone at something else, and have this pop up, hey, are you still there, Bobby Jean? I don't know, yeah? But anyway, on click will be very useful for funnels and for shopping carts. You have a person who's clicking through your site looking for a product. So e-commerce this will be a big thing for your e-commerce site. And they go through a certain number of clicks and they don't get to that final click. They just don't purchase it. They just don't go to the final cart. And this is here where you are going to set it up. And this is not click like I'm doing here. Click anywhere. It's click on links, right? So it's going to only work if somebody clicks on a link and then they click on a button. But if they just click here on empty space, it doesn't count. We did after inactivity, on click, on page, exit, intent. This is a typical example if somebody's on your page and they look at your page and they think, come back tomorrow. And as they want to go with the cursor up here and type a new address or select a new favorite website they want to go to, this pop-up will appear. Not only for the top, anywhere. If you even go here to the bottom, maybe to close it or use another document. And this is where you want to tell people, hey, wait, another 10%. Are you happy now? This is your on-page exit intent. Show after X, how many page views. So if a person comes to your site, this will count not clicks, but it clicks how many pages that this person has viewed on your site, or sessions. Again, let's say somebody comes to your site and they look at the product or they look at your subscription. Yeah, they not bowled over. Tomorrow they come again and they're like, yeah, better things to do. And after a week, third time they come, show after 3. So it means by the 4th time they arrive, then this pop-up will appear and tell him, hey, Peter, I'm not sure. Are you looking for something? Of course, it's not going to know you're Peter, but it's going to say, hey, we've seen you around here. Are you looking for something? Contact us or let us talk to you, or hey, here's 20% discount. This is the idea of show after X. Then show on devices. This is a little bit of a condition as to where. Where and why would you want to use it? And this comes back to responsiveness. Some pop-ups are going to be magnificent and they're going to look extremely good on a desktop display. For example, that video idea I just showed you. But that kind of pop-up can be very cramped for mobile device, even when you try to make it responsive. And in this case, it's a good idea that if you know that it's not going to look good on mobile, not to show it on the mobile. Maybe make a second pop-up just for the mobile. So you will choose here, show it on desktop, and you add another one, show on devices, and you say show on tablet. And you save it for this pop-up. And then for another pop-up that fits your mobile display better, you can do that. That's just one example of where you're going to use it. Before we go on, again, if you delete it, not going to work. You need to have a minimum of 1 trigger condition. So we were on show on devices. On scroll is probably one of my favorites. And on scroll means percentage here. So if I scroll down 10%, I scroll down and after 10% the pop-up will appear. And I can put it at 80%. After 80% the pop-up will appear. The one that I really like is up. And the reason why we say up is people is scrolling down, and the moment they scroll up, the pop-up appears. Why? Because up is an intention to exit as well. I'm done with the page and I go up, I want to leave. So you want this person to still think about maybe buying your product and click at the button at the bottom. But if they are not interested, and they start scrolling up, then you tell them, hey, if you buy today, you can get this 30% discount. Right? So that's on scroll. And then there's this one called to element. This is a little bit complicated. This may look a little bit complicated for non-techies like me. I'm totally clueless. But if you watch the video that we have on YouTube, it's very, very simple. And I explain it to you. This will allow you to have the pop-up trigger when it reaches a specific element, block, or container on your page. So if there is a specific area, let's say an upcoming function, and you want people at that moment to get a pop-up to encourage them to buy tickets for that event, then you can set it for that specific element or container or block, and it will pop up. Very cool feature. I think once you get used to this one, you go through the tutorial, it's very simple, you're going to love it. And then the last two, arriving from, you can put a specific URL here from your site or from external site where they arrive from, and when you arrive from that site, it will appear. Or you can say hide. For example, if you have a sister site or you have a subdomain and they come from there, you don't want the same pop-up to appear again, or from a landing page because they were already on the landing page. This opens the world for you. This one, regex. If you know what is regex, you'll know how to use it. And then for source, if it comes from a search engine. So if it comes from Google or what else, we have all our search engines for this. If it comes from there, it's going to appear. Or if you come from external link or internal links. And then the last one is hide for logged in users. That is the case of Bobby Jane. I forgot which Bobby it was. You already have a person, you have a membership site, and they subscribe to it. And then when they come there, you can have the pop-up appear for them or not appear for them. Hide. It's hide for logged in. And then over here, your roles appear here. And if you have a role manager set up here, if you, for example, once you have stores and things like that with additional roles that will appear here, they will all be over here. Beautiful. I just want to say one thing that I love about this compared to other pop-up builders that I've used is that I say include here pages. And then if I click here on this drop-down box, my pages are there. Normally, WordPress and other pop-up builders want you to type in the name of your page first. Now, I'm pretty sure if you've got like 100 pages, this may be a big challenge, but it is pretty nice, the fact that they are here and you don't have to think, wow, what did I call that page again? I totally forgot. The other thing I want you to note here is that if you have more pages here than the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the top, look, you have to scroll with your mouse wheel. Under home, I still have one over here. So if you don't see your pages, but you know you've created them, remember to scroll. That's definitely going to be the case with posts because you're going to have more than the normal set of 6 posts. And again, just like conditions, when you're done, remember to click here on save and everything is set. And there you go. Those are the triggers and conditions, and they will be working for these ones that are your automatic global pop-ups. Great. So what you have to remember then, because you see here at the bottom, we're still at publish, we haven't saved anything, is to click on publish. And you can view it from here. It will draw your home page in the background for you to view. If you click on preview, open up the home page for you, and you can see it's loading forever on my local drive. And that's the reason why we're not looking at each and every one. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here until doomsday come. And this is the default one for 1 second. Okay, let's just make our screen default size again, Control-0. And then remember, if you want to load a different one, remember to delete it here. Same options here to save and also to make it global. Let's exit just so that we can see. I'll update it just for good measure. And then we exit back to dashboard. And if you go here to the Brizy Panel, Popups, click on that, you will see the one that we just created. Well, I gave it exactly the same name as the previous one that I had deleted. Triggers and conditions appear over here. And like I had said earlier, if you have a global promotion, let's say during your Halloween, you had a global promotion, you set your triggers and conditions here, and then you have your Black Friday, I would just recommend that you come and do some house cleaning here. Clean the stuff out you are not using. But if you think, wait a minute, but this Halloween pop-up of mine is so super cool and I paid so much money to that guy on Fiverr to give me this looking thing, then go and save it first, and then you can use it in the future again. Right, so I think most of the questions answered, and the question that came up again, in case you guys missed it, the automatic or the global automatic triggers and conditions for Brizy Cloud, give it another 2 to 3 weeks, should be there. And then everything that you saw here will also be included in that. Then the other thing is that you've heard me mention about a video that will go into each one of these in detail. We will upload that video tomorrow to YouTube. So you'll get a notification in your box saying it is here. Dimitri, you've gotten very good at replying. I think the Upsummer deal has been keeping you busy with replying.
Yeah, I'm a pro. I think I've answered over 300 comments there and questions. I wanted to touch on this. The cloud. I see that a lot of people asked about the triggers in the cloud, and you know, the cloud is a special kind of beast, right? There, everything we do in the cloud, we need to basically start from scratch. If in WordPress we somewhat get the help of WordPress, for example, the menus, right? You go to WordPress admin, you go to appearance, you create the menus on the WordPress side. So they handle that part. It's built in. On the cloud side, as you know, we needed to create all that functionality from scratch. The same goes with the pop-ups. We'll have that. We need to build that extra functionality from scratch. So that's why sometimes in cloud things tend to take a bit longer. But eventually, our idea and vision is to bring everything in the front end, in the builder. So we'll create in the cloud, for example, the pop-ups most likely will be in that model window, right, where you can create pages and have different dashboard settings. And we want to bring that as well in the future in WordPress. So basically what you see with the global pop-ups that you create in the WordPress admin, we want that eventually to be directly in the builder. So you'll create that directly there, and that goes for everything that we can move there. We are discussing to move the menus there as well, so they will be linked. You'll create basically WordPress menus directly in the builder, and they will be synced and things like that. But there is a lot of work to do until we get there. So I don't want to get extremely excited about it just now. we know how we did it on the Kit 2.0, right? We announced it 3 months earlier, and yeah,
3. I think it was 6 months.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, but, yeah.
Right, guys. So the videos will be up on YouTube, and then any additional questions, please let us know on Facebook. And anything that you don't see there means it's probably not there. So please go ahead and go check the roadmap. I've seen some people say they live on the roadmap daily, and you'll notice there are a lot of things. And of course, that it takes some time, but hopefully the integrations, and this is what Dimitri had mentioned in one of the comments, the team is working on API, right? And that will maybe speed up some of these external things, right?
Yeah, we started some work there, and actually we've been hiring lately. We have some new colleagues, and we have 2 colleagues that are worked for us in the past. They're and we snatched them from other companies. So we did some headhunting and bring them back. And one of them will handle the dynamic part, and will and the API. He already started some work there. And another one will start working in the cloud on the CMS part, blogging, shopping, and a lot of cool stuff. But don't hold your breath, right? We still need there is some work to do there too. But it will come eventually. So yeah.
Right. Okay, guys, we are already at our hour. There's just a few more minutes. We're going to show you our little something extra. And some of you already guessed that we were talking about Form version 2. We're not going to go into detail into it, but we're just going to give you an idea of which direction it is going and what you will be able to do with it. And if the sound drops out and if the video suddenly disconnects, you know what to do. Just click the refresh and make sure you pump up the volume there at the bottom. And don't blame it on me, okay?
You can actually already play with Form version 2. And for those of you very active on Brizy Cloud, that's where you need to go to do that. And you will tell me, that doesn't look like Brizy Cloud, but oh, it is. If we go here, you'll see settings. And then from settings, you will see the dashboard for the settings in Brizy Cloud open. All right, so let's not talk about that. What I want to talk about is the form. So I'm going to bring in a blank block, and then we go to our elements and look for form. Soon to come to the WordPress. All right, so here it is. And the first thing you should notice is what happened to me. I saw the button. I thought, huh? How did I get the button to stretch the whole width? And you know, I'm a big sucker for a whole width button. So I said, like, what is going on here? And I clicked on the button and I went to the settings of the button and what? Width? Since when do we have this setting? What happened to that custom width over there? And then as I was busy with it, because nobody told me, as I was busy with it, I thought, but if I can do this, I know I can set the fields at 50%. Does it mean that I can put these two next to each other? And indeed it does. So let's play it at exactly 50%. I'm going to type in there 50%. And now my button is at 50%. And what you typically will want for something like your mailer integration where you have an opt-in form is that you want only the email and the opt-in over here. You don't want to scare people by asking them for their birthdays and their blood types and things like that. Let me delete this column as here because that's typically what you do. You have it in a block across the whole width. So I want the email and I don't need this select option. So I'm right clicking, delete it. So I click on it, I delete it, paragraph, same thing, click on it and delete it. Now if I go to email, previously setting that was over here. There's a lot of options over here as well that you may not be used to. But to set the width, you go to settings over here and here's your width. Let's type in 50%. And by golly, look at that. And of course, if you want it a little bit different, let's block this thing. We go to our block and we put it at 70%. There we go. And now for email, you will want a little bit more. Let's put the email, at 75. And then we go to our button and we put the button at 25. And that's it. Wow, right? This is what you've been waiting for. Let's look at the rest of the other options in this form. And I'm not going to go in detail in it. You can go to brizy.cloud. And if you don't have an account, don't cry, because there is a free version of brizy.cloud. And this is the perfect time for you to go and try it out. I was very hesitant because I was so busy with so many other things in the last year. I had zero time for brizy.cloud. And because there was kind of this thing, it's only for people who want to do conversion and use funnels. I thought, well, I'm not into that at this moment, so I don't need it. But when I started testing it about a month ago, I was totally blown away. Did I mention to you that I was totally blown away? Because if you try Brizy free, the WordPress version, you still need to have a host, and that host is going to cost you money. But if you try the Brizy free cloud version, there's zero cost involved, except if you have to buy extra data for your internet. So let's get back to this one, and I'm going to bring in another element of the form. And then over here, let's have a look at what's going on. So we click in the field, and over here, when we go to the form selection, the type. Now, previously we had a few. We had number and paragraph and select and text. And now we get our checkbox. Tra-la-la, checkbox. Let's see how that works. Yes, and another checkbox. No, and you're undecided. And then you click here to add it. And what do you have with the checkbox? You can have it in columns, so I can put it next to each other. Very, very nifty. And then you have also control for the spacing here at the bottom. This is awesome. This is pro form builders that we have over here. And then you have the option here to add the label. That is for all of the fields. Those are global settings. And then again here, if you go to the settings, you have your width control over here. And these little trash cans or bins at the right is if you added one and you don't need it anymore, you just click on it, it goes away. Let's change it from a checkbox to a radio. Okay, so radio will give you the option to select. Let's see, you have columns again, required, radio, advanced, okay. And then we have under that date, right? So where is my date now? Ooh la la, minimum date and maximum date, native HTML5. Okay, this one scares me. I'll need to go work on this one a little bit more. So the date, it will be the setting. Let's see there. That's year, month, date. So let's put in 2019. 2019, and then should I put a dash? I guess I should put a dash. Put it at 12 and 19th, because that is the release of The Rise of Skywalker. And then we put it at 2012, and we put it at 03/19. And what happens after I've done this? Okay, let's save it, update, and go view it on the front end. I should change that label. Let's change the label quickly. We call it date, so I don't get confused. Date, update, date, update. And preview, 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 preview. And we just wait for the small eternity. And over here, oh, it's look good. Very, very good. Oh boy, my heart is beating so fast now. Especially because I had no idea what was going to happen. That's the date. What else do we have on the date? Then we have URL. Okay, you can add URL. We got that time as well. File. Choose file, upload file. Guys, we are talking extreme pro features here. You understand that, right? So if you need to increase maximum upload size, please contact your hosting. Okay, right? So you've got that over here, and then allowed file types over here. Well, you are paying for this feature. For other add-on forms, the same it will cost you for Brizy Cloud if you buy the Pro. So this is absolute value for money. I love it. I love uploading this. One of the reasons I love uploading file is because I had worked on a recruitment site with an HR company, and they needed people to upload their photos and upload their CVs, resumes, and all of other kind of mumbo jumbo. So in the end, this is one of those features I always look for. Do I have a file upload, telephone number, and a password? Ooh, all these features. So go and play with it. It is in Brizy Cloud. You can go check it out, and it is really worth the while. And then very, very soon, you'll get your hands on it. Very, very soon. Right, let me just expand the video, make sure, and there I take it away again. Expand the video over here. Okay, I'm going to figure it all out in the coming weeks. Guys, and that was in Brizy Cloud, and that's the whole point. It's actually been there for a while, and if you had played around with it, you wouldn't have been surprised the way I was surprised. But that shows you what's upcoming. So, Dimitri, that will be the next question. When are we getting this for the WordPress plugin? I think, Dimitri, I don't hear you. Is it my side or your side?
Now?
Yes,
yeah,
now.
Okay,
now.
perfect.
Okay, right.
The form 2.0 is ready for some time now, but let me give you some context to see. Sometimes it's not about only that functionality, right? Because the form is embedded in the fabric of the builder. For example, in blocks, we've created a lot of blocks in kit 1.0 and the new kit, and in layouts, and in all the design there are a lot of form elements. So basically what we needed to do is to go through all the blocks, to go through all the layouts, and replace the old form element with the new one, because there is a complexity here, and there is not a matter of updating it and a form that you already had and you're using it will be updated to 2.0. No, there are two different forms. There is form element 1.0, and this is the new form element. So basically these are two separate elements. So we needed to go back and redo, basically go through all the blocks and all the designs that have a form element and replace them. And this is why we have this small delay, but the work is already done, and I think it will come in the next maybe week, 10 days, something like this. So it's nearly there. Yeah.
I'm going to write it down in the next week.
Yeah. Oh my God! Don't you? I always try to keep, because you know what happens. I'll put everything in the life right now if we had them, but every time things pop up, some crucial stuff that we need to, there are a lot of walls that we need to break sometime, and in software development things pop up a lot, so sometimes we need to push things, and yeah, 10 days. Let's give it 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's already 1 hour and 15 minutes, and it's a Thursday night. I know many of you have families, and for those of you over in the States, you still have a day to go, half a day, depends on which coast you are at. For some of you, you're about to turn off the light and go to sleep. So we really thank you. The videos, the tutorials will be out on the YouTube channel. And as you have seen on the Facebook forum, we are making quite a number of changes. We have Chris that's going to be running the community forum there as well. And we are going to bring in dedicated playlists on YouTube for Brizy Cloud and Brizy WordPress separately. So if you in the future want to go hunt for something on Brizy Cloud, you will find a dedicated playlist for that. And if you want to know about WordPress, we debate a lot about splitting it or putting these things together, even on Facebook. But there are a lot of us, myself included, who use both. And I know it makes sometimes you have an argument for putting it separate, but at the same time, 80 to 90% of these two overlap. So if you want to know the differences, then definitely go check out the YouTube playlist. But I think if you've been around now for a while, you're starting to get the direction Brizy is going in and what is happening with the WordPress plugin and how nicely this will play in the future with Brizy Cloud. So just go and play with both of them. Dimitri, anything that you would like to add before we give our gratitude for the night?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for coming, guys. We really appreciate it. You have the patience with us as we learn the ropes with live webinar and all these new tools. I saw that someone asked about layouts. Yes, we have. I think we have 10 already done, and they will come in the next design updates really soon. And we have some. I was discussing a very cool idea with GP and the guys here. And if you watch the Facebook community in the next few days, you'll get, I think, a very nice surprise. So that's about it. Let's talk about this nice surprise at the end, as we always do it. We'll send you guys, all the attendees here, we'll send you a 20% discount for Brizy Pro if you didn't jump in the hype train yet. You get the chance to use this discount now, or maybe if you did, share it with a friend. Or It will also work with the lifetime deal, so that's a nice thing. And we'll send you the code over email shortly, I think by the end of the week. So yeah, this is the main surprise of the night, right?
Yeah. Look, last time we outdid ourselves when we did the kit announcement, and we talked about, can we do that again? So we need to level the expectation a little bit again, so that if we in the future drop the bomb again on you, it will be a big surprise. But also remember that this also works on the WordPress limited deal as well. And that is something that you guys should think about, because we don't usually do any more promotions on the WordPress limited deal. So getting that off here, that is actually a huge thing as well. And I think that brings us to the end, right?
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you around in the community, and you can hit us on emails. And yeah, we're here. We're pushing hard to make Brizy the best way to create websites in WordPress and in cloud. So stay around.
Right. Good night and good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.